Welcome to the Generation Kids Daily Devo podcast, where we move from wonder to worship, looking for God at work in the world around us, ready to ask the tough questions and discover what His Word has to say to us. Today's episode is titled, Dropping Breadcrumbs, and it comes from me, Casey Taylor. One of my favorite things about a good TV show, or even as a kid when I watched cartoons, were the small details that the writers and directors would put into leaving little breadcrumbs to help you figure out what was happening beyond what was obviously happening. What I mean is, you'd be watching a scene where there was a conversation between two characters, and it seems like no big deal, but then something falls out of one of the characters' pockets, or someone makes a comment about a stain on the other character's shirt. And then some small detail that seems unimportant in the moment turns out to be some important detail that helps you see that one of the characters might have more going on than what you see on the surface.
Did anyone see that?
Like, maybe the stain on the character's shirt is an ink blot, so when we find out later that the crime was committed with a blue pen, we're able to, pun intended, draw some conclusions about who might have done it. Or maybe the paper that falls out of a character's pocket is a pink sheet of paper, and the ransom note that had been left for the rich father to find stating the kidnapper's demands to release the rich man's daughter was written on, you guessed it, pink paper. And these little clues help direct our attention to what might be the bigger picture at play, more than meets the eye upon first glance. We can learn a lot about the bigger picture through smaller pictures. Let me give you an example a little closer to home. When I was in high school, I was a serious baseball player. I played summer, fall, winter, and spring baseball. I couldn't get enough. And I genuinely loved it. This was something that my high school baseball coach noticed as well. In fact, he would later tell me that he viewed me as a leader that could help lead my team as a captain in the years to come. And if the story stopped there, and you saw or heard nothing else but that bigger picture, you might think everything turned out well for me. That's because you didn't see the breadcrumbs that dropped to the ground in the background. You see, one day after a long and grueling 3-hour practice, I left early to go to a hockey game that some friends of my mom's invited me to. Now, I'd been there for most of the practice and only had to miss the last 30 minutes or so. So to me, that wasn't a big deal. My coach knew I was good and that I'd be ready for the games. But to my coach, he saw some breadcrumbs of what could be a bigger issue within me that I didn't see myself. It's also what our passage in Luke 16, 10 through 11 calls our attention to.
One who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much, and one who is dishonest in a very little is also dishonest in much. If then you have not been faithful in the unrighteous wealth, who will entrust you to the true riches?
My coach noticed something about me. He saw that I had, again, pun intended, taken my eye off the ball. In terms of my leadership of my teammates, if I couldn't be counted on to play until the final strike, or to give my all when we were losing or winning by a large margin, to give the effort that my team needed me to give, to show them in practice that I was there until the end, how could he trust or count on me to give my all in games when things got tough? So do you know what happened? He didn't put me on varsity until the very end of the year because he didn't think that I'd shown the faithfulness to my team, that commitment, belief, and trustworthiness that I needed to have and show to lead my teammates. So he kept me away from the better players so that my mentality didn't rub off. In this passage in Luke, Jesus is teaching his listeners that when we remain faithful in the small, seemingly unimportant and unseen aspects of our relationship with God, or in how we treat people as someone who calls themselves a Christian, that God knows that he can trust us with more and greater influence for the kingdom. But if we can't even be trusted with the smaller gifts, the blessings or opportunities that he could give us, then why would he give us more than we could handle, or handle without it crushing us, or without us being strong enough in our own character to handle all that comes with the more he might have given us to steward? God wants to partner with us to see his kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. And so many of us will want to do so in grand and important ways. But unless we can be trusted to love the person next to us, and in a genuine way, why would he trust us with hundreds or even thousands of people to lead? Why would he give us a great audience if we're not even willing to invest in a few? Why would he give us many resources to care for if we're poor at managing few resources? He wants to know that we care, even when the stakes are low. Because what falls out of our pocket in those smaller situations, or what breadcrumbs might fall to the ground when there aren't a lot of eyes on us, might be mega obvious if many eyes or more influence are ours to worry about. God is a kind God who rewards and recognizes faithfulness. Faithfulness that shows that we care, even in the small things, because when we can be trusted with a little, He knows that we can be trusted with more.
Now it's time for
Today's Big Question!
Today's big question is, what are some of the small areas of your life that you know that you've let yourself slide in? Are there areas of your life that you might not have taken so seriously when it comes to living for God? First of all, you're not alone. But second of all, you never know what God might have for you if you let Him all the way in to those hidden places. It might be out of those small seeds of faithfulness where no one's looking, where His bigger plans for you bloom. Thanks for listening to the Generation Kids Daily Devo podcast. If you want to keep in touch with us on all our social media platforms, check out the links in the description. And if you'd like to help support us as we continue to create meaningful content for kids of all generations, please subscribe to our Patreon by visiting us at patreon.com/wearegenerationkids.